Hi, this is a Yesterday's Moose production, and today I'm going to be playing Super Mario Maker. The levels that I'm going to play are ones that I made myself and are currently online, plus one level that I haven't already uploaded. With that, let's get things started. First level up is Mushrooms, Coins, Pipes, and Plants. This is part of Traditional Zone, a set of 4 levels going from Super Mario Brothers theme to Super Mario Brothers 3, then Super Mario World, and then finally New Super Mario Brothers U. In this level, there's exactly 100 coins, with the exception of a sub area where you can go in and get some additional coins. However, if you just go through it the way that I am, you'll get 100 coins and get a 1-up. I like to include 100 coins in most of my levels, as well as at least 1 or 2 additional ways to get 1-ups. This level has slightly progressive difficulty. Each time you go to this cave type area, it becomes more and more elaborate. Plus, it's trying to be, fairly traditional, with, of course, a Super Mario Maker twist. So I use Goombas and Koopa Troopas and Piranha plants, but not much else as far as enemies go. There, I'll go ahead and get another 1-up, and take a little bit of time to get some additional coins here. Like I said, want to rack up to 100 coins, and there we go, top of the flagpole with an additional 1-up, and that's it for that level. Now on to the next. Here we have Bounding on the Building Blocks, which is a Super Mario Brothers 3 level, and I wanted to go with a theme kind of like building blocks, in like a kid's toy chest or something. They go ahead and build these blocks, and we can imagine that Mario is like a toy or whatever playing in these building blocks. And I only use the semi-solid blocks to make the ground, as well as the different platforms that Mario jumps on. And since you only have 3 different styles of semi-solid platforms, I tried to make it as varied as possible. Tried not to repeat certain colors in a row very often. However, given that there's only 3 colors, it's pretty limited as to what you can do. This, of course, uses the Raccoon Mario or the Super Leaf power-up. Again, there are some hidden items and 100 coins. And basically, you don't have to get those 100 coins. It is definitely optional. You could speedrun this level in probably about 10 seconds or so. But I like to reward people who take the time to explore the level and whatnot. And again, only really used Koopa Troopas and Goombas as the enemies. Did not throw a ton of different enemies in there because this is trying to be a traditional level. There we go. On to the next one. Here we have Skewer House, which is, of course, a Super Mario World level. This is a ghost house level, and is basically just a long hallway. We could have maybe added a little bit more detail once we get to the sub area. However, I just wanted to kind of just make this a fairly simple level, somewhat traditional. Try to keep the player going forward, stuff like that. Not a whole lot of distractions and whatnot. And also wanted to use the skewers, because at the point that I originally made this level, skewers had just recently been introduced into Super Mario Maker. So I wanted to use them in a level. And totally took out that Magic Koopa with the Goomba here. And get a key. And the reason why I'm keeping the Goomba here is to, for a little trick here. You can acquire an extra 1-up if you spit the shell, as I just showed there, follow it along the way, and you'll get 2 1-ups. If you didn't bring that Goomba along with you, you could only acquire 1 1-up. And I, of course, included pink coins, gives you a key to open the optional exit here, which basically just gives you the top of the ticker tape there so that you can get a 1-up. Okay, on to the next course, which is a new Super Mario Bros. U level called Skewered Castle. In this level I tried to make it you know, fairly traditional in the style of new Super Mario Bros. U. Again, the skewers were very new to Super Mario Maker when I first put this level online. I made a few revisions, not a whole lot was changed when I uploaded it again. At this point I'm not going to make any future revisions. This is the level, and it won't get any changes or whatever. I like the way it worked out. And this level also uses wall jumping, which is a technique that's unique to Super Mario Bros. U, and it's basically the only way to get past this level. If you don't do wall jumps, if you don't use the spinning to increase your hang time in the air, it makes this level pretty much impossible. So one would have to master those techniques in order to get through this level. There's also a lot of little recess areas where you can hide from the skewers, give yourself a little bit of protection, and hidden items, of course, progressive power-ups. So if you are regular Mario, you get a mushroom. However, if you are Super Mario, then you get a fire flower. And once again, I'm using the pink coins to give the player an additional goal, and it will eventually lead to an optional door that you can open with the key. If you manage to keep the key and get to the end here, you can open this bonus door right there. And what that will do is it will give you 3 1-ups plus a power-up in case for some reason you lost some power-ups, and you can get an additional power-up right there. And then go on to face Bowser Jr. As I said in a previous video of Super Mario Maker, I prefer using Bowser Jr. over regular Bowser, because you can hit him with fireballs, you can jump on his head, you can hit the axe and plunge him into the lava, stuff like that. There's a lot of ways to defeat him, in other words. And there we go, that's the end of the level. And once again, Bowser Jr. falls into the lava as Mario watches. Here we go with up, down, left is right. This is part of left is right zone. Another set of 4 levels where each level goes from right to left instead of left to right. In my full game, I also had a backwards set of levels, which I called backward zone. So when I was working on kind of like a sequel to my full game, I figured I would throw in another 4 levels where you go from right to left. And I like the fact that you're able to do that with Super Mario Maker. I'm not sure I would have had as much interest in it if that was not possible. Then again, who knows? I might have. I just definitely would not have had as many right to left levels. And once again in this level, as with the previous one, there are exactly 100 coins to collect. And one thing that's unique about all these levels is that I use the Super Mario theme. And the reason for that is because basically I figure when people are playing the original Super Mario Brothers, they don't expect it to go from right to left. So people will have to really be on top of their game to get through these levels. They'll have to think just a little bit more about it than they would with like Super Mario Brothers 3 and the other themes. It's a bit more common that you might go in the so-called opposite direction. Alright, on to the next level, Backstroke, which is a swimming level. It is completely underwater. There are 100 coins here, and pink coins as well. And one thing about this is, if I had to do this over again, I might make some minor changes. I might remove the moving blocks. I think the position of some of the coins I might change to make them a little bit easier to get. Because, for example, these coins that I'm going after right now, you have to go to the far left in order to get them. Whereas if I were to make an updated version of this level, I would allow the player to basically go through this shortcut there and probably get the coins over here just before this power-up. And oops, I accidentally lost my power-up there. Oh well, that's fine. Right here, however, I can use the shortcut. There are no additional coins to the left, so I don't have to go after them. Originally, this level did not have this much detail. It was very, very, very simple. However, when I updated this level, I did a lot of revisions, added more strategic enemies, made this little going back and forth type thing, a lot more precision swimming, threw in a bunch of bloopers, which admittedly, if you don't have the fire power, it is very difficult to avoid the bloopers. And well, what can I say? It's just a very, very challenging level. It's underwater. Not a lot of people like underwater levels. However, I wanted to have some variety and wanted to include at least a couple of underwater levels. And I wondered myself if it was too difficult or whatever. But I figured, you know what? Whatever. I can have a few, really difficult levels. I don't think this is sitting at super expert. I think it might be at expert, but I can't honestly say without going back and checking at this moment. It's definitely not easy. It takes a lot of swimming skill and a lot of patience to get through this. I do show off an easy way to take out the bloopers. Once I get to that section, I'll point it out. And for no particular reason, I'll take some time to get this power up here and just collect some coins. And you can get crushed by those moving blocks, so it's important to pay attention to the timing so that you don't get crushed by them. And there should be a blooper coming up here. And the way to take the blooper out is just stay on the bottom and hit it with a fireball. Wait for this blooper to come down. Throw some fireballs. Take it out just like that. If you swim around, well, the blooper will move around also. And that makes things a lot more difficult when the blooper is moving around. they have a fairly unpredictable swimming pattern. You know, if you watch it long enough, maybe it is slightly predictable. But to be honest, I still think it's fairly erratic. It's hard to really get a sense of what the blooper's going to do. It also is worth mentioning that I tried to vary up the type of background details, which you can make with semi-solid platforms, and that's why there's those seaweed looking things, and also this slightly darker blue area that's all accomplished with semi-solid platforms, just to give it a bit more detail. And also it makes it so that you can have more detail without actually using physical blocks, because Super Mario Maker has a limit to how many blocks that you can use in a level. There we go, I got a key, and this key is basically just to open the door at the end. If you didn't get all of the pink coins, you would be locked out of this door. And you know, it just kind of leads back to the beginning, but there wasn't anywhere else to hide it. Here we go with the backwards underground. It is, of course, in the underground theme, Super Mario Brothers, and of all the levels that I've created, I like this one a lot. Probably one of my favorites, simply because when I was originally trying to make this level, it was in the just the regular so-called ground theme of Super Mario Brothers, and was having a lot of trouble getting a feel for the level. I didn't really like the way it was working, and then somehow when I put it into the underground, it all of a sudden started to make a lot more sense, and I liked it a lot more, so I kept it that way. And I also added a lot of trampolines on the ground to bounce around the enemies. That way they're a little bit more of a challenge. The Koopa Troopas will bounce and the Goombas will bounce. And I'll get a hidden one-up there, and even the one-up bounces. And of course, this level has 100 coins, including the pink coins, which again, in this level, they're just an optional thing to collect. They give you a bonus, and here coming up is a good example of bouncing Goombas. Right here, these Goombas will bounce and land on the platforms and become more of an obstacle to overcome. A little bit harder to predict what they're going to do. Now I have the key, and just to show off the ending here, I get hit so that I can get a power-up. This green door here is always open, but you get a weird mushroom in there, plus a 1-up, and you can only become weird Mario when you're just regular Mario. Then I open the locked door, I get a costume, and plus a superstar, and with that, go ahead and finish the level. And by the way, if you're weird Mario, you'll bounce off of those trampolines and you'll completely miss the door all the time. Here we go with the castle to the left. This is supposed to be a very traditional castle where there's no enemies. There's only the potaboos, whatever, the fireballs that come out of the lava. So, like, if you were playing if you were playing Super Mario Brothers, there's typically no enemies, with the exception of Bowser as the boss. So I tried to recreate that by not including any enemies that Mario has to face. And just taking the time to get the coins, of course. Once again, you could totally speedrun this level. I think it's maybe 9 seconds. I don't know at this point, but it's a lot quicker. I'm of course taking the long way. I like to show, you know, me getting all the items and power-ups and whatnot. And here I'll get another fire flower. And ooh, get hit by a fireball, of course. Why not, you know? Take the time to get the rest of the coins here. And just for fun, we'll get a secret. Right there, a 1-up. For no particular reason. Now on to the boss, quote unquote. Who is just a giant Goomba. Take him out. The end. I did not want to use Bowser because I don't like Bowser as a boss. So I thought it'd be funny just to have a giant Goomba. Alright, on to Pink Coin Cave. This is the first part of Auto Shooter Panic Zone, where all of the levels are auto-scroll, and they're also shooters, where you pilot the fire clown car. And in this zone, I haven't completely finished it. I've only made 3 out of 4 of the levels, and reason for that is because I kind of just ran out of ideas, and I do want to make an auto-scrolling shooter with new Super Mario Bros. U theme. I did make one before for my full game, but I wanted to make another one, and I just have no idea what I want it to do. So that's the reason why there aren't 4 levels. By the way, I will be including the links to the bookmark pages for all of the levels in the description for this video. And I'm also, as I said at the beginning, including one that I haven't uploaded yet, which would be part of the next zone. Like, if I ever come up with an idea for a new Super Mario Bros. U shooter, then that would be the last level of this zone, and then the next zone would be the new Super Mario Bros. U zone, where all of the levels would be, of course, in the theme of new Super Mario Bros. U. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I haven't made a lot of new Super Mario Bros. U levels. And by the way, this level is particularly difficult. Of course, in the original Super Mario Bros., there's no such thing as shooting levels, so, you know, I wanted to make one. And I'll get that 1-up eventually. There we go, 1-up. And an optional key. At this point I have my 100 coins. Go ahead and take the locked key door and get the top of the flagpole. That onto the next level, which is in the Scary Underground. This is a Super Mario Bros. 3 auto-scrolling level. I was just, for these levels, I was keeping with you know, the theme of starting with regular Super Mario, then Super Mario 3, and Super Mario World, and then new Super Mario Bros. U. And I thought just for the first couple of zones, you know, that would be a fun thing to do. Getting bounced around a lot in this level. I also, this is like loosely inspired by an old game. I can't remember the name of it just off the top of my head, but it's a very old Konami game where you'd have like things that you would have to shoot. There was one of them with a helicopter and one of them with a spaceship, but right now I can't remember the name of them. Anyways, in this subzone here, wanted to just have some obstacles where you can get crushed. So it's all about the timing. If you don't go through these crush walls which are made up of bullet bill launchers. If you don't get through there in time, you can get crushed, or you can get trapped and get crushed by the screen that way. And of course I include progressive power-ups and checkpoints to make things slightly easier. And I put in a little bit more variety of enemies here, like with the flying bomb-ombs and the flying buzzy beetles. And just for fun, I threw in some magic Koopas here at the end, which are, you know, really easy to take out with a fire clown car. And with that, go ahead and get the last pink coin, open the optional door, and get a 1-up. And there's some hidden items here to get, such as that super leaf and a POW block and a superstar. You can actually carry that POW block with you if you're so inclined. Okay, on to the next level, Spooky Shooting Selections, which is a ghost house in the Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario World theme. And in this one, you have different paths that you can take with these doors, and if you take the wrong path, then you have to repeat certain sections over again. Some of the doors will advance you to more difficult areas. You can also go down pipes and stuff like that. So there is a faster way to go through this level. However, just for completion's sake, I take the longer route and I don't take the shortcut. However, if you were wanting to play this, just to let you know that there are alternate paths. You don't have to take the path that I'm showing off here. And of course have some items here just for fun, such as a 1-up and a superstar. If you take the time, you can get the superstar and use that, get a couple of seconds of invincibility once you go into the sub-level here. And this is where things start to get really difficult. A checkpoint there, and you cannot go back up into that pipe, by the way. I made it so that it's a one-way pipe, which is a little tricky to do. You basically put a pipe behind that pipe, and if it's facing in a different direction, it basically prevents you from going back into the pipe. It's hard to explain, but if you have Super Mario Maker, you can play around with the pipes a little bit, and I'm sure you could figure it out eventually, or just look online. And just for fun, I'll go ahead and get that flying 1-up. There you go. And get the rest of the coins, at least for this part. Go back up the pipe. Now I could just go to the left and finish the level. However, I'll take a little detour up here, get all the pink coins, get the key, some hidden 1-ups there, and go into the optional door and get the 1-up for the top of the ticker tape there. Now we're on to the final level, the level that I have not uploaded, called Pipe Plane plus Piranha Plants. Let's go ahead and get it started. This is, of course, a new Super Mario Bros. U level, which would be part of the new Super Mario Bros. U zone. I do my best to try to make it seem like a traditional new Super Mario Bros. U level with, you know, a few little of my own touches or flourishes, whatever you want to call it. There's 3 pink coins, which are like in New Super Mario Bros. U, there's usually 3 big coins that you have to collect. So that's basically what I'm trying to replicate by including pink coins. And you get a key, and it'll eventually lead to an alternate exit. So it's completely optional, but just a little reward for the people who take the time to do that. Once again, I will probably eventually upload this level if I can think of a auto-scrolling shooter for New Super Mario Bros. U. Until then, it's just going to stay in my core spot, because I wanted to keep my levels in order. Okay, go down the pipe here and get another pink coin. And this level, as with my previous ones, has exactly 100 coins, of course. Of course, one could just, speed run through the level. I haven't checked to see how fast that would be, but I would imagine probably maybe 10 to 12 seconds, something like that. That seems to be the average time it would take for someone to speed run one of my levels. Now go down the pipe and get the last pink coin. There we go. And at this point, we're right at the end of the level. Nothing really left to do here except get a few more coins. And if we didn't have the key, we would be able to just go to the flagpole. However, use the key, go to the top of the flagpole. And there we go. That's the end of the level. And now I've made a video of all my levels. So at this point, I'll go ahead and end the video. So thank you for watching. This has been a Yesterday's Moose production, and I'll see you next time.